So thank you guys for joining the Go Queen Brand podcast, the Q Chat. I'm here with my podcast partner in crime, Miss Courtney Mpagi, on another sad Friday night. So how you doing tonight, Courtney?
You know, up until about 20 minutes ago, I was rolling with it.
Right.
And now it unrolled over me.
The thing that is like boggling my mind right now, it's eerily like the sad Friday that happened a few weeks ago that like really devastated me to my core.
Mm-hmm.
When we found out that we lost King T'Challa, and I'm not kidding, I was crushed. Okay, so here we go. Just a few weeks later, here we go back at it again. Now we lost Ashiro in the Supreme Court. It's like, what is happening? Like, can 2020 just, I don't understand what's going on. I mean, like, literally, Kobe started the tone in January. And it's like, we just can't get a break. I don't
And
understand. Like, how are you feeling? Because I'm just like really disgusted. I mean, I'm not trying to act like I'm ungrateful just to be here, but I'm like, what is going on? This is too much.
I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, I think there's some rational part of me that's always like, okay, let's find the lesson or let's
Mm,
find, you know, where the divine's plan may be going.
right.
Because it has, like, if it's not that, I don't know what I'm going to do. you know, um, I've always felt that this whole thing, this whole year, starting with when you and I with Kobe, we connected on this. We
Yes.
Kobe being taken from us was a higher calling for a higher purpose for everyone to do more, be more, you know. And even through the pandemic, we've been keeping that same tone that, this is something, this is a chance, we're supposed to get something from this. There's a lesson, there are many lessons. At this point now, though, with all, when we sum up all the people we've lost, famous or not, and everything that's going on, I feel like I'm at the point like, Lord, I no longer have the capacity to rationalize it, to put a cute little phrase on it. We need help.
Girl,
And
look,
Lord,
like,
send help.
it's Negro spiritual time. Lord, we need you now. Like, what is
Wing low. Wing low.
Yes, it's time for us all to break out in unison and sing some serious Negro spirituals because I don't know. Like I'm just here to be here at this point because I'm like, this is just. I mean, what is going on? It's like, okay, we're in September, so like at first when it was like, okay, every single month is like, okay, what can happen next month? And it's
Mhm.
like something in the cosmos says, hold my beer, I'm gonna show you. So it's like,
And you know what? The fact that Mitch McConnell,
ugh,
not even that her body's not even, cold yet and nowhere
nope.
near a grave, that he's trying to move on a vote is
Well,
just,
here's the
oh,
sad part. Here's the sad part. And tonight I almost popped the cherry on getting into my first political argument on social media, which I never do because that shit's beneath me. But I almost did tonight because, one of the Trumpsters commented on one of the posts about her passing saying, well, good thing that Mitch put in that order that you can't vote on a Supreme Court justice in the year of an election year. Lies. Okay.
right,
Yeah, that's what he said when Obama was in office, but this is the year of hypocrisy. This is the
right.
presidential term of hypocrisy. So that's why I almost wanted to at this person. I was this close, but I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Because I'm like, your
Is it even
spirit's
worse?
gonna be, yeah, like your spirit's gonna really be messed up if you do that. But yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, he said that when Obama was in office. But of course not, because we in the demonic presidency. Oh, all that's
Mm.
out the window because they have no rules, they have no limits, they have no morals. So it doesn't matter that he's being a total hypocrite right now. Because what does it matter? He's not going to be held to any standard to say, oh, well, you said something totally different. when we had
selling
the black president.
is just, I mean, I can't even look at some of these people in the face at all. I don't
No.
know if I truly ever had like a respect per se for them, but
Right.
probably respect as far as civility, for
Right, like
your,
you're a human being,
yeah.
like that
And
little inkling of respect, like you're at least a person.
now that I know you're even beneath that,
Right,
you
you're lower than scum at this point. Like you have no level of decency, period.
mm-mm, mm-mm, not for the party of conservatism and the party of decency. And where did that go?
Right. I don't know. Like this is a strange year. It's really sad that she truly, truly, truly was trying to hold on.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
that's the part that's like really hard to
That's gut
swallow.
wrenching.
It is.
That's
It's
gut wrenching.
very hard to swallow that she literally tried to hold on. Like that was even in her thought process towards her last, you
Hmm.
know, months and days, and that's really
Hmm.
sad that had to be one of the factors in her trying
Her
to hold on.
mantle. Hmm.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know, like this is just a bad time in general. I mean, I don't know what to say, and I hate to even give it that label, like, oh, this is a bad time. This is just a very surreal time, let me put it that way. It's very
I'd
surreal.
like to know what people, because, neither of us was around, but there was this time, this cluster in time when, John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm
True.
X, Martin Luther King. Like,
True.
how did, what, how did you keep going beyond that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's one thing I wonder. And then another thing I wonder too is, where's the balance in all this? Like,
Mm,
it seems like we've lost so many good,
right.
but I not a like we can't get a bad yet, just kind of balance. Isn't I thought the universe was about balance. Depending on if you're spiritual or religious, however you look at it, to me, all of them were about balance. At least that's what we thought. But David Duke is still walking around, Mitch McConnell still walking around. And even if it isn't, balance in death, even
Hmm.
balance in justice. Certain folk have never seen jail, never sniffed it, never will.
Nope.
No indictments, no. And so it's just kind of like, where is the balance in all this? That, I'm not calling for anyone's death. I do think that's evil. That's not what I'm saying, but where's the balance?
But I mean, what you're saying is logical. I literally just inboxed that to one of my best friends. I said, "Yeah, but the evil people, they're not even sneezing right now."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I know that's like some people may look at it like that's really messed up that y'all would think that, but I'm sorry, that is the first thing that goes through your mind. Like, okay, all these good people are leaving us,
Mm-hmm.
but these
Mm-hmm.
evil people, they don't even have a 100.2 temperature. Like, what is
Girl.
going on? Like, I don't understand what is going on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, and then when I saw that she passed, it gets to the point where you start to get numb too, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, you get to the point where it's like, well, it is 2020, like you get to the point where it's like,
Right.
what else can happen? And I even hate to say that because, like I said, the cosmos straight up be like, hold my beer. I'm gonna show you
I
what else
know.
can
Oh,
happen.
I have been telling people, please don't say what's next.
Right,
Like,
because that's
we're
been
getting an
happening.
answer for every time.
Right, because that has been happening since January,
Mm-hmm.
literally. Okay, I mean, every single month practically, we can pull something out of the sky that showed us, like, okay, how many times, the higher power up above needs to nudge us on the shoulder and be like, hey, I told you that you're not in control. It's just, I feel like
Right.
that's been the theme of this year. Just basically saying, okay, like I said, whatever you believe in, I think the theme of this year has been, I will show you who's truly in control. Is none of us,
Absolutely. If
basically.
there's anything I can take from, just kind of a bullet point, I really do believe that's it.
Right.
Um, and 2020 isn't done with us. I just, I just believe that at this point. I think, we have yet to make it to the final act.
Right.
and I shudder to think what it actually means. If there are people who look at what we're going through from a historical lens, and many say we're on our way to a civil war type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
or at least a lot of civil unrest. And a lot of people feel that's no matter how the election goes, because either the Trump base is emboldened by his reelection, so
Right.
now they're going to be even more Trumpish, or they're
Correct.
disappointed by his failure to reelect. And that I don't know if I think the former might be worse if they
I
actually win.
I promise you,
So
I've said this for months. I feel like it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same effect whether he wins or he does not win. Because just like you
mhm,
said, and I've said this a billion times, if he loses, the people who have been so ride or die for him, they're going to be so infuriated that I feel like they are truly, truly, truly going to react in a way that is going to be dangerous, and it will truly set off the thing that we have feared over these past 4 years. I think it's really going to be the breaking point, actually, if he does not win. Okay,
mhm,
because think about it, his little cronies and his followers are already, they're already in the majority right now as far as, the thing in their mind, this whole race war and all this nonsense that they're doing. So they're not really bothered at the moment because he's currently in office. But I think the scary part is if he does not win in November, like you said, that is when they're really going to try and show us something. Okay. And
mhm, mhm,
I really, truly, in my heart, feel like that's when it's really going to get really bad. If he wins again, I feel like they don't really have a reason to completely show out. I think it's just going to be like the normal BS that they're doing. But I just feel like if he does not win, it's when they're really going to lose their minds. And I've been saying this for the longest, that's when things are really going to get terrible. And the sad part is, I feel like as far as Biden and Harris, now mind you, I was just on someone else's podcast yesterday, and I mentioned, as far as me personally, do I have like this enthusiasm for, the whole Biden Harris ticket? No, I don't. I've said that to you as well on recorded sessions. I do not have this major enthusiasm, and I am a Democrat. Do I have this major enthusiasm for our party? I don't. I mean, I really don't. However, to me, this election year is straight up nothing about other than getting Donald Trump out of office. It's so
mhm.
focused on getting him out of office that we really don't have time to focus on, okay, is this other candidate really truly good for me? Because unfortunately, this whole Trump administration has put us in a mind frame where it's like we don't even have time to look at what's good or bad with the other candidate. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Because it's
mhm.
so focused on we got to get this racist out of office, which is a pro and a con. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, if let's say, I feel like right now, I don't like to make predictions simply because you couldn't have told me Hillary Clinton wasn't going to win 4 years ago. I would have never
Right, right.
guessed that, But at this moment, one thing I do have some level of confidence in, I do feel like a lot of people truly are coming together in a sense like, okay, we need to just get this man out of office. Whether that's good or bad for Biden and Harris, because I truly think people are really not even paying attention to them. Like Joe Biden could go kill a whole family right now. I don't think anybody would care. It's just like no one's really paying attention to him, quite frankly.
Right.
We're all focused on Donald Trump and getting him out. Him and Kamala could go to a pyramid scheme. They could whatever. No one really cares about what they're doing. I personally don't. Like there was this big thing about recently. Oh, the Tim she had on. Who cares? I'm like, I don't give a damn what she's doing. It's like I literally don't care. You know what I'm saying? I just want Donald Trump out of office. I think the majority wants him out of office, and that's all people are focusing on, which is technically dangerous too, actually, because once those two, let's say Biden and Harris, they are successful, which, it's hard for me to say whether it's looking good for them or not, because it's just like, I don't want to make these grand predictions, but I just feel like at the end of the day, it's dangerous that we're not really focusing on them. And it just puts us in such a strange position. I feel like if this man loses, that's when his little cronies are going to really cause some problems, and our lives will literally be at risk because I just feel they're just going to do random stuff. more than they did in the past. They're just going to be like, okay, we're frustrated. We have no longer have control, because we know control and power is all that Trump administration was about. And I
Mm-hmm.
think they're going to lose their minds. And that's when we're really going to see some terrible stuff. And I think that's kind of where we're leaning towards. Because I think a lot of people truly are fed up with him. I mean, anytime you got, you know, Mitt Romney of all people saying, Trump got to go. There's large groups of Republicans against Trump. It's like, okay, people are starting to get the point, but it's just a shame that it's like, I feel like we're screwed if he wins, we're screwed if he loses, because there's something bad is going to happen. But I think it's
You
going to
know,
be even worse if he loses.
I wish I was as confident as you are that Biden and Harris have a really good shot, because I'm still in scramble mode. I do think that there is the possibility that he will be reelected, and I think it's real. Like, I think it's real.
Right,
But I think what we need this time, and I think where they were able to be successful last time, I do think it was part of their scheme, and we can go back and look at how Facebook is, supposedly looking at political ads and things like that. I think a lot of the apathy that people felt to not go vote came from that camp. And I think
right,
they knew we could just make them sit down, if we could just make them feel like their vote doesn't count anyway, if we can make them feel like it's the lesser of two evils, so who cares, then, that's where we win.
right,
So I do think mobilizing people to vote is going to be the key if it's going to
right,
happen.
right,
For me, I maybe I'm preparing myself for the fact that, I feel like either way we are doomed or in trouble, so to
right.
speak. I think for me, the reason why I think it's probably going to be about what and what, or six in one hand and half a dozen in the other, is because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like even Trump, because he's so petty and because a guy, I think he's gonna be like, oh, so y'all tried to get me out, huh? Well, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm back, bitches, and watch out. I think
Right.
that
So,
for me, that's where, life takes the other turn. And I feel like, when his, forget the Karens now are screaming and, calling people stuff. The lady the other day just threw a 2-liter bottle, or maybe a 24-ounce bottle, at a Black woman just jogging,
right, the
never saw it
jogger.
coming. I think
Mm-hmm.
those types of things step up. I think they all are
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
like, let me show you who's always been boss now that our boy is
Right.
back,
Right,
so.
because that's all this has been. This has been a reaction to us having a black president. That's all this has been. Okay, a
Mhm.
dog
Oh,
could have sat there. A freaking dog could have ran for president 4 years ago. And if that dog had said the right things, they would have said, we're going to vote for this animal, because anything to just show these black people that, okay, y'all was happy for 8 years. Let me show y'all something. And then the adverse reaction to that, because I know unfortunately a lot of us had that argument. Well, Obama ain't do nothing for me, but whatever. I'm not really talking to y'all. I'm talking about
right,
the people
right.
like you and I who knew the significance. Okay, the monumental significance of having an African American president, something that I thought I would never see in my lifetime. I'll be 100% honest. I never thought I would live to see
Oh,
that.
no,
Period.
never,
I didn't think it was
ever.
possible. I straight up, I'm not gonna lie. I never even thought it was possible. And that's not even being negative. I didn't see it happening. Never.
Hmm.
As you and I know, there's been movies about and TV shows about black presidents, and it was kind of like a fantasy. It was a joke. Because it was
Right.
just like it's not gonna ever
It
happen. So
was
that's
usually a punchline. It
right,
absolutely
exactly.
was.
Right. It was a parody all the time. And
Hmm.
that's the sad part, where I feel like some of us are so like, or maybe perhaps the millennials or just the people that are so jaded, they don't understand the fact that it was always a joke. It was always a parody. It was
Hmm.
always, like you said, a punchline. It was always just a fantasy. To see that really happen was 100% monumental. So that this whole Trump administration was 100% that adverse reaction to having that black president, it was like, let me show you guys, you didn't have a right to celebrate for those 8 years. We don't care how
Mm-hmm.
significant that was. We don't care that he was scandal free. We don't care. We're gonna show you guys what place you belong in. And that place is at the
Absolutely.
bottom. That place is where you're going to continue to be shot and killed. That place is where we're going to continue to show you guys you're nothing but niggas. We're going to show y'all everything that you thought you had won in the past 8 years. That's all Trump represented. A lot of people
Absolutely.
didn't vote for him because of, oh, well, we think he's going to do this, blah, blah, blah. No, he had his campaign incited on fear, incited on anger, incited on racism, and that's all they needed. Make America great again. We know what he
Right.
meant by that. He meant, let's go back to the times where we had these niggas not even be able to drink out of a water fountain. That's
Right.
exactly
Right.
what he meant. I mean, I'm sorry. That's what he meant. And they all went for it. Like, yeah, that's exactly what we want. We want the time when we could hang those niggas from trees and not, get
Mm-hmm.
in any type of trouble. We want that time when those niggas could sit there and we can accuse that nigga of whistling at a white woman and mutilate his little body with no problem. That's exactly what they wanted with Make America Great Again. And Donald Trump
And
said,
honestly, too, to piggyback off that, I
mm-hmm,
think they saw, Barack Obama embolden us. I
mm-hmm,
think it was say what you want, like I'm with you, girl. The whole Barack Obama didn't do anything for us, just clearly says you know nothing about how this system works. So I
nothing.
can't have a conversation with you. But
Right.
you know, beyond that, though, even beyond that, Black people walked with a confidence,
Hell
a
yeah.
swag.
Yes.
I think a lot of movements, if people are really being honest with themselves, were born under that administration. It didn't have anything to do with the presidency per se, but it did have something to do with the tone of the country finally seeing Black in a different light. So I
Yes.
really feel like the natural hair movement and the neo-Black movement and things like that really ramped up during that time.
We were
Um,
proud. We were
mhm.
proud, plain and simple. It was a time where that whole administration, we were proud. And I'm sorry, it damn sure emboldened me because what Barack Obama meant to me was the fact that we had this intelligent, eloquent Black man, just like he said, the audacity of hope, the audacity of him to say, well,
Mhm.
guess what? I'm going to show you guys that the fact that you all thought this was just a joke, you thought this was a dream, you thought it was a fantasy or a parody. I'm going to show you the audacity of hope that we really can have
Absolutely.
an intelligent, and not only, and it wasn't just him, the whole damn family, him, Michelle, the little kids. I was like, we're going to show you guys what Black excellence is, and you guys are going to accept it, whether you like it or not. And that's what I loved about him. The audacity of his swag, the audacity of his intelligence is like, I don't care what anyone wants to pick apart about that presidency. Like I will argue anybody that will, I don't want to hear, oh, well, he didn't do enough for Black folks. First of all, and that's probably another podcast episode. I'm not gonna lie. Like we probably would have to
Right.
do a
Right.
separate
I
one
already know
strictly
where
on
you're
that.
going.
Because it's like, what was he supposed to do? Well, I want to tell y'all, I want to pass this bill straight up for Black folks. Okay,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Like, yeah, that was really gonna happen. But
And not
it
only
was,
that, if you as a voter, as a Black person or whatever, were really interested in him, you would not have only voted in the presidential election, but you would have made sure every representative, every senator, every mayor, everybody else was blue
exactly.
straight down the line, so that when he did go and ask for that, the answer was yes.
And see, and that's where the ignorance lies, which, like, once again, we've begat another podcast episode because that's where the ignorance lies. Because once again, everyone, well, he didn't do nothing for me. He didn't do anything for you because you didn't get your Black ass up and vote for the congressman, the
Mm-hmm.
legislator. You didn't vote for any of those other people. So you probably cut civics class in 9th or 10th grade and you don't know how things work. Okay, so that's why he didn't do nothing for you. He couldn't do anything for you because he didn't have the correct people in office underneath him. Okay,
Right. We do not have
so
a monarchy. We do not have
hello,
a monarchy. You did
exactly.
not elect
So
King Barack Obama.
so a lot of y'all who with this bullshit, oh well, he didn't do nothing for me. Go back to school.
Do
go
that
back,
first.
right, take a civics course, and then come back and tell me what he didn't do for you. He couldn't
Right,
do
right.
anything for you because you did not vote for all the freaking elections that you should have in your state.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so stop blaming the wrong person. Blame the person in the mirror. Okay, and then we can have an intelligent conversation. Until then,
Absolutely.
unsubscribe from the Q chat, unfollow the Q chat, do whatever you got to do, because I'm when I say I'm done having these unintelligent conversations, I
I know
can't do
that's
it.
right.
I
I'd
refuse.
rather
I'm
them
not
not exist at all.
right. Like I'm not gonna lower myself anymore. Like this is ridiculous. Like I like you're not gonna sit there and say all these things about Barack Obama under my watch. It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen. Like I don't
When
care.
you
Like
are
we just
ill informed to have the conversation.
right, because there's nothing he
Mm-hmm.
could have did specifically for us because you did not vote for all the elections and
Mm-hmm.
probably didn't even vote for him. Period. You just sat back
Right,
and didn't
right.
vote
The
on that.
main people talking, you better say that. Because even though it
Right.
was a record number, it was still a low number. So let's talk about
Exactly.
that.
Right. Because you sat back and put your fate in other people's hands. So you really don't have a say so, period. Okay. So we gonna leave that at that. But just far as because that really gets me heated. But as far as 2020 in general, just hearing of her passing, I mean, I just had so many thoughts. I was like, yet another Friday. Like we can't even have TGIF anymore. Cause I mean, we didn't get a chance to record, when, my T'Challa, your T'Challa, King of Wakanda passed. That was like one of the most that hit me harder than Kobe. I'm not gonna lie. Because
Mm.
Kobe was just nothing but shock to me, okay? Because and this may sound kind of morbid, but I think it's a common universal thing when someone dies in an accident because the way that we all think we're logical thinkers, so we start thinking, oh well, we think we're in control of things, so we start thinking, okay, well this maybe could have been prevented if this, or
Mm-hmm.
they got on a
Mm-hmm.
helicopter, it was foggy, we try and rationalize and make
The
sense of
entire
it.
right.
But with Chadwick it was like, oh my god, it was just like the wind was taken out of us. And then to hear that this king, you know, died of an illness, and it just was so hurtful. It was just on a different level for me personally. And the wind was knocked out of me. And especially because Black Panther meant everything to me. Everything
Mm-hmm.
on, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Marvel head. So once again, and this falls under the same category of having a Black president, having a Black superhero. I'm 43 years old. My entire life I did not see any Black superheroes except for Cyborg. Okay, the millennials probably like, who the hell is she talking about?
Right.
Go Google it. Google it, because I don't have time to really. We don't have all night, so y'all can Google Cyborg. That's the only Black freaking superhero I knew. And Cyborg still ain't got no movies. He don't have no nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just
Mm-hmm.
happen to know
Mm-hmm.
Cyborg because I'm an old head. Okay. But and like I said, a lot of people that's listening is probably like, who the hell is she talking about? But like I said, that's your homework assignment. Go Google Cyborg and you will see that is another Black superhero. But Black Panther was everything to me. I mean, I was waiting for that movie. The minute I remember my kids telling me, "Oh my God, there's gonna be a Black superhero in the Avengers," I'm like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Show me, like, tell me what scene he's gonna be in." Like, we fast forwarding because they had seen it before. Like, tell me the exact mark. I was like, "I don't care about anybody else in this movie. Just fast forward to the part that they show him." I'm like, "I just need to see him," and I'm dead serious. I was like, "Just fast forward to the part that he's in it." I mean, so it was more than him passing. It was like the legacy was gone. And I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people on Twitter like, oh my God, it's so insensitive that people are talking about Black Panther too. I didn't take it as insensitivity because I looked at it because I thought the same thing because I had literally been waiting for number two. Every time we
Right.
had an update about number two, I wanted to hear everything because I lived and breathed for that movie. So it wasn't a disrespect to him or his family. It was actually a compliment to him. He built that legacy. That's what we associated number Black Panther with. It's him. So it was just devastating. And it's just
And
like just
I think it was ensuring that the legacy would continue in a way
right.
that celebrated him. Because
Correct.
Hollywood, for all that it can do with representation and stuff, It's
Right.
a business still, and they can rush things, cut things, change things. Like, oh, he's gone. Let's move on.
Right.
So I think people are
Right.
like, okay, hold up. What we gonna do now? Now that he's gone, make sure that
Right.
whatever you do is in line with the legacy.
Right.
I think back to Aaliyah when Aaliyah
Mm.
died, and there was this rush to finish Queen of the Damned, and by all accounts,
Yeah.
the movie was horrible because of
Mm.
that.
Right.
And how there was this kind of rush to, I think, capitalize off her death,
Oh yeah.
and so it just brings me back to that, where I
Right.
think people this time are like, yes, we're mourning, but we're watching as well. So y'all make
Right.
sure whatever y'all do is in line with his legacy.
Right, and we want him to be respected. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a disrespect that people were like, okay, because that's one of the first things I thought too. After I was like, once I calmed down, because like I said, I was like, I mean, it was I can't even describe the feeling when I saw that he had passed. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so yeah, obviously, okay, what about number two? Because we all wanted number two. We lived for number two. So it definitely wasn't at all a disrespecting him by no means. And then it's like, okay, if you're gonna do number two, you better do it right where you respect him.
Right.
Like we're watching, like you're
And it
not gonna
makes sense
disrespect him.
what
Right.
happens. Right.
Right. We don't want him disrespected. And we don't want to think also about T'Challa, quite frankly, passing. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
we're watching. Like, how are you going to do this if you do number two? So and that's another thing I think that just goes back to who are true fans and who aren't. Because a lot of times I think it's so easy for people to sit on the sidelines and make comments if they really truly weren't invested. You
Right.
know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember seeing that movie. I was sick that day. I said it on a previous podcast. I had the flu, which is probably not, like I said, a good thing to say during the whole COVID situation. I was like, I'm not missing this movie. I didn't care. I was like, I was like, it would take me on like the wings of Jesus for me to have not made that movie that night. I was like, I'm still going. Like, I'm sick. I don't care. I was just like, I'm not. I had lived for that movie for the longest. So, I mean, I remember watching it. I was amazed when they first started, and then it's like they showed Sterling K. Brown. Because remember they kept that a secret that he was even in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. So I was like, "Oh my God, it's Randall!" I was like screaming the whole freaking movie, know. And then Michael B. Jordan, who I became infatuated with after, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was that fine. You know,
Girl, okay.
right? I was like, oh my Lord. And then when he took off his shirt when he was about to fight, I was like, oh my
Oh
Lord.
my
I was like
Jesus,
all in the movie.
absolutely.
And then the end of it, I never forget the very end of it when, him and the sister go to the area in Oakland, where the uncle had died or whatever, and the little kids were in there and the kid from Moonlight. So it was another thing. I was like, oh my God, it's a little boy from Moonlight. Oh my God. I was like, it's nothing but black excellence. They get all the black excellence in this movie. I was like, oh my God. So then a little boy, when he asked him to, well, who are you? And he just looked up and smiled. I grabbed my daughter. I'm shaking her. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, this movie is everything.
And
And it,
for me, I can take it to some of our old podcasts, the darker skinned sister as the
mm-hmm.
beautiful, sexy love interest,
Yes.
with her natural hair,
Yes.
bantu knots and all,
Right. The movie meant everything because it glorified black women on. I mean, I
mhm.
can't think of a movie off the top of my head that glorified black women the way that movie did.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
glorified us. The fact that the black women were his protectors,
Hmm.
so the beauty of him
And he
was
knew to
that,
respect that.
right. So the beauty of him was that the it's just you can't even really put it into words the legacy that he left though. And I had said that because you remember when we did the virtual party that next day, like I said, with you and one of the people that had to talk me off the list, like, okay, you need to still do this, because I was like, I'm so devastated. But if I had to choose between passing as a legend, hey, it's a no-brainer. Imagine dying and he will forever be remembered as a king. It's like,
Hmm.
I mean, it that fills my heart. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's sad that he's gone, but it's like you truly left us as a king. You represented being a king to us, just like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You represented everything for us, just with democracy and, just being a woman that stood her ground and you looked out for us, like
Mm-hmm.
little old
Mm-hmm.
us. She left this earth still thinking about us, trying
Everyone
to hold
else.
on for
Mm-hmm.
us, saying, please don't fill my spot until there's a new president. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like Barack Obama said, the audacity, you know what I'm saying? The audacity of these people to just do something so amazing, you know, and
And you know what I'll say about Chadwick's death? I think where it's different from Ruth's death is that we were allowed to take the journey of the sickness with her. So
right,
we were allowed to kind of pray and wish her
right,
well and things
right.
like that. For me, Chadwick was, I felt robbed of that, which I understand. Please, at the end of the day, if those were his wishes, then you respect that.
Yeah.
You don't say nothing. But, just as a fan, I felt so gutted. Like I didn't
I
know.
know.
I
That was
did
the
not
part.
know,
It was
you
literally
know.
like, because I'm literally scrolling through Facebook. It's like maybe 9:30 at night. I'm just a scrolling. And I never got a chance to mention that my favorite podcaster is actually B. Scott. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm scrolling, see B. Scott's post. It's this beautiful black and white picture of Chadwick Boseman. When I saw the caption, I screamed. I said, I just like, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. And
Right.
I wanted to physically not cry because I was just like, I this can't be real. Like, this is not real, like, not him. And that's like you said, because we had no warning. I mean, obviously, there was the video in April, which I saw
Mm-hmm.
too. Now, mind you, because of personal things I was going through, I couldn't really focus on it. I remember when I saw it, someone had inboxed it to me, matter of fact, because they know I'm obsessed with Black Panther. People that know me personally know that I'm obsessed with Black Panther. So my friend had inboxed it to me, and it was like all the comments, and I'm like, wow, like, is he losing that weight for a movie? And something in the back of my mind was like, that don't look like movie weight loss. Like, it just, I was like, I don't think anybody would go to that extreme for a movie. But like I said, I had personal things going on. My mother was pretty much like going in and out due to COVID. I didn't have time to really process. I was like, yeah, maybe it is for a movie. I'm like, it don't look like it, but it was an afterthought, and I moved on.
Right.
So when it said he passed, I was like, oh my God, because like you said, we didn't have no level of goodbye at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then the thing about it, I on the flip side, I feel like, let's say they had released that he had it like maybe a month or two prior. I think we still wouldn't have, I don't think we would have, I don't think there was any easy way, there would have been any easy way to accept him leaving,
Sure.
period.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
it was
Absolutely.
it really hurt, was the thing. And to see like a nation collectively be sad, that's the part that I think it just was hard. And I mean, I remember when Prince passed years ago, and I was like devastated, but this really hit me worse. And even to this day, it's like hard for me to believe that Prince is gone, because I was like a
Mm-hmm.
huge Prince fan. But
Mm-hmm.
this one was just so poignant, and just seeing his legacy and learning more about him. He really truly was like, look, I'm not representing my people in a negative way. I'm not going to do that, period. Like, I'm not taking
You're
these
not gonna use
particular
me for
roles.
that. Right.
But when you look back in hindsight, I feel like the higher power really, like they said, the date and time that we leave is already set in stone. I just feel like his life was really truly just steered in a particular way. If you just really look back at him,
Mm-hmm.
how many actors do we know? Denzel Washington doesn't even hold this crown. Has played so many iconic characters.
Right. Right.
I
And
can't
to
think of
say, I
anybody
mean, to
else.
me, like you said, to echo that Black Panther was already the best thing to ever happen to cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And to know
Mm-hmm.
he did it with stage 3 colon cancer, which usually
Mm,
doesn't even affect the male until well
right.
into their 50s. And
Yes.
here he is, I thought pretty chiseled, I thought he was looking good,
Right. Yes.
and so here I'm thinking, oh, he must have put it on for this movie. All right. And to know he did all of that under chemo treatment, I mean, I can't even digest that. And it made me, and here we go again with the, the being human and wanting to rationalize and this, that, and the third. It made me think for all the times I got a little headache, or I'm a little tired, or,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to stop because of all
Right.
of the reasons are petty and pale in comparison.
I
And
know.
and when the Lord charges you with something, at least what I took from him is you do it with everything in you. You don't leave anything on the field. You know what I'm saying? And I was almost disappointed. I was like, you know what? There are times when I could have kept going and I just didn't.
I
And
know. And that was
and
the
how dare
thing.
I?
But and the sad part was I've watched Black Panther so many times. The last time I watched it was maybe before he passed, maybe 2 months or so ago. On Disney Plus. Okay, I was hustled into getting Disney Plus to watch Hamilton, but because the thing is, I watched that movie repeatedly, but once it left Netflix because of Disney Plus. But long story short, I've watched it a billion times. And once I heard, I literally had to like stop when they were like, "Oh, he had it for 4 years." I was like, "What?" I immediately started Wikipediaing it. I was like, "Okay, wait, I got to Wikipedia this way." Like, wait a minute. Like, I know they must have started filming Black Panther 5, 6 years
And
ago.
right, right,
I
right,
was
right,
like,
right.
wait a minute. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. What year that movie came out? Because I was like, huh? Because I was like, wait a minute. Like, I know he didn't make this movie, and it made me sadder actually. But then it also made me just be in awe. I was like, oh my god, he really truly was a king. I mean, it was just like I said, I truly believe there's like a higher power with supernatural favor, and I was just like, this shows right there, like his life was literally molded for that,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
hurt. It's like it was a hurtful feeling, but a happy feeling at the same time. I mean, it was just so monumental to know that he made history like that. And then on top of that, he also was in, the movie Marshall at the same time. So it's like he also represented that iconic figure dealing with that. It was like, this is unreal, you
Unreal.
know. And
Unreal.
once again, if anyone needs like a boost or a pick me up, I know a lot of times I'm always trying to you already know, I'm always trying to do this or do that. It's just like, personally, yeah, there's times I'm like, why am I trying to do all this? I'm exhausted. It is like looking at him, I was like, are you kidding me? If nothing, if you need nothing to inspire you, just throw on that movie. And one of my favorite scenes in that movie, actually. And the funny thing is, like I said, I've seen the movie a billion times, but there was a scene in the movie that I actually did not really key in on actually until a few months ago. So it's the scene where it's T'Challa and Killmonger. They're having that scene on the mountain where they're fighting it out or whatever for who's gonna hold the crown. And T'Challa, Killmonger, handing it to him. He handled it in the business. He was beating him up basically. So there was this scene where while this was taking place, the Queen Mother, she screams out to him, "Show them who you are." And I don't know why that scene never really resonated to me until this one particular day. And when she said, "Show them who you are," it was literally like somebody like nudged me, because it was like the way she said it. And as like I said, I've seen it so many times, but it never meant anything into that particular. Sometimes you got to watch your movie, rewatch a movie so many times, and you catch different things. I finally caught the significance of that scene. Show them who you are, and it's like something that you have to apply in your life every single day, or when you're trying to achieve greatness, show them who you are. And it's just like, it just killed me that it's like those 43 years he had, I mean, it's just it's mind boggling that he showed us who he was. He represented so much. He represented kings, legends, trailblazers. It's just like, wow. It's just like it's just so it's special, to be honest. We're sad, but it's special. And just barreling back to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it's sad, but it's like when you sit back and look at the body of a person's life that has touched people under on that standard, who was placed on this earth to make a difference like that. It's a special thing. Even though we're sad, it's just like it's just so special that it's like you can't help but just sit back and awe, like this is
Right.
unbelievable.
And you
Like,
know what? Another thing about him, if you go back and look at like some of his acceptance speeches and
mm,
things like that, it was all, it was never fluff, you
mm,
know. And maybe part of that's because he had a feeling that whenever it happened, he was going to leave this earth sooner than he wanted to,
right.
you know. And so it's like he took the time to infuse and leave jewels and nuggets, you know, so that long after he's gone, you'll probably go back and a lot of people were doing that, posting some of those old interviews and acceptance speeches, because now they make so much more sense. Like
Right.
they have so much more of a context now. And I fully believe he did it knowing that that would come to fruition at some point for everybody. So at the
But
time,
you
it was like, oh,
know,
look at T'Challa, go boy. At the time, it's
right.
like, wow, you were a king amongst men. You really, truly were.
But you know, the way I look at it is like he may not have fully known, but it's like the higher power knew. It's just like he
Mm-hmm,
was really
mm-hmm,
put on this earth from day one. It was already set in stone. He had 43 years. Okay.
mm-hmm,
And he
mm-hmm.
was set out. He was already used as a vessel on a mission. Same with
Absolutely.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Before she even knew who she was, that was already set in stone. Like you were meant for greatness. You were created for greatness. You were meant to change history. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just I can't even really put my I really honestly can't truly articulate just seeing this. Like, it's just I don't know, like I've been getting really in tune to spirituality lately. um I don't know, it's just on it's just it's spellbinding. It's just like, oh my god, and that's the part where you, even though we're shocked and we're sad when things like this happen, once the shock starts to wear off and you look at that person's body of work, you look at their lifespan and all the things they achieved, it's like, okay, this makes sense. They were meant for greatness. This was the part of the plan, and it's not meant for us to understand it. But this year in general, even looking back on Kobe Bryant, it's just like, okay, for him to be that great, you know, it wasn't an
Mm-hmm.
accident. He was supposed to be that great because he only had so much time,
Time,
you
right.
know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, that higher power already had that set in stone. He only had 41 years. It was set in stone whether we weren't supposed to understand it. It's never meant for us to understand.
Absolutely.
If we were to understand things that go on, we wouldn't need faith. You know,
Right, right,
you
right.
know, we wouldn't need prayer. We wouldn't need meditation. We're not going to get it that easy. So none of this is ever meant for us to understand why is this happening. And I really think that's what this year represents on so many levels. Like, none of this is supposed to make
Makes
sense.
sense. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not supposed to make sense. There's some type of plan. There has to be. Like, there's
And you know
gotta be.
what's maybe even kind of scary about it is the answer may not even be revealed in our lifetime.
It
This
won't.
could be a piece of a puzzle that won't even get put together for years to come, you know. And I was having this conversation with somebody myself that, you know, we're going to leave this earth not knowing stuff. You know,
Right,
I hate
right.
it. I want to know as much as I can. That's why I read. That's why I travel. That's why I meet different people. That's why I have certain conversations and relationships, because it irks me to my core that I'm gonna leave this earth not knowing some stuff.
I
Um,
know.
but we may leave here not fully knowing what, you know, what Chadwick Boseman meant, what Kobe meant, what 2020 meant, what Trump meant. You know, it's just like that could very well be the case, that it'll remain
Right.
this mystery to be solved in a whole nother lifetime, you
Right.
know.
I mean, and I think, and I've said this in personal conversations. I don't think I've ever really said it on a podcast, but once you hit 40 years old, it's just a whole different ball game as far as how you think, everything. Because basically, and whether people believe it or not, I don't care. You can bet me on this. Once you hit 40 years old, all bets are off because it doesn't matter. 40 is literally like it's the climax of your life. Okay, because once you hit 40, once if you're blessed to see 40, it's like, okay, which Colby and Chadwick has shown us. Once you hit 40, you potentially live like a good portion of your life basically at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hit
Mm-hmm.
40 and it really starts to dawn on you that it's like, okay, I've hit I've hit the pinnacle. I've hit 40. Okay, at this point, all bets are off. I may not be guaranteed 1, 2, 3, 10, 20. I don't know how many years I have left at that point. Whether that sounds morbid or not, that really is what I think. Someone who's hit over 40, they can inbox me if they disagree. But I feel like once you hit 40, you really start, it dawns on you. And I personally lost classmates that I went to school with, kids that I, laughed and giggled with that lost their lives after age 40.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Not just one, several. So once you hit 40 years old, it really starts to dawn on you, especially when you get to that point where you're seeing people that you grew up with pass. It gets to the point where you're like, oh, okay, so once I hit 40, I do not know how much time I have left. And I know that sounds morbid, but that really is the reality. So you start to view things differently. You start to think about things differently. You start to
Mm-hmm.
analyze things that you did from 0 to 40 that, hey, you could have did slightly different. Or you start to analyze things, oh, God, I wish I had done it because now I may not have the time. That is the reality of 40 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I know for me personally, this year when I say hit me like a train wreck, because I'm like, I already know like once you hit 40 plus, it dawns on you and it reiterates more than anything. You know, you do not have all this control that you think. And the 40 years that you were granted to have was nothing but the grace of God. Nothing. Like you start thinking about some stuff that you did, like, oh man, I could have easily died that night. You know, like, oh Lord, like it really starts to dawn on you. So this year in general, just is reiterated so much to the point that I think it's put us all in a different state of mind. Like, damn, this is real. Like this is not a game anymore. Like so many things are taking place. And I mean, take the celebrities out of the pictures. The average everyday person is dying at unprecedented rates and levels because of this pandemic. We're seriously living in a situation now. If you just go out and not follow the quote unquote rules, you could potentially catch this virus that could be deadly, or even if you follow every rule in the world. I mean, who knows? Fate may say, okay, it's your time to catch it and you're gonna go. I mean, who knows? It's such I don't know, it's just an eerie time period. So when things like this happens where it's like, Ruth Bader Ginsberg, someone that we all looked up to, and everyone that knows the significance of just her role, her leaving what is done now is this gaping hole, like, and it's like, oh my God, the timing couldn't be worse, because now we have Agent Orange who can fill that seat with, another one of his minions. It's just so many things. I just seen like Chadwick Boseman, oh my God, he's gone. A whole legacy has passed with him. No matter what they do, like I've heard talks that they're gonna make the sister the next Black Panther. Well, yeah, great, it'll be great, but it's still not gonna be what we all anticipated. We wanted to see him. So it's just like this whole year to me just shows that we're just not in control. That's the best way I can sum it up. If someone told me to sum up 2020 in one sentence, that would be my thing. Oh, we're not in control. Like, that's all it is. Like, I mean, like, I guess if you had to sum up 2020 in general, and like I said, I hate to just dwell on death, but that's the whole purpose of us having this episode tonight. How would you just sum up this year in general?
Oh God. How do you put it into words? I think what comes to mind is it ain't over.
Right.
And so that could be many things, there are so many people that, like, let's say at the beginning of the pandemic, that swore to God the economy wasn't gonna make it, and oh Lord, we're gonna be rationing food and we need to get back to work. And lo and behold, it ain't over. Yes, some businesses didn't make it. Unfortunately, lives were lost. A lot of that could have been prevented,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it ain't over. Um, and then that same sentiment works for some of the heartbreaking things we've been through. I feel like
Right.
that ain't over. It ain't over.
Right.
There's going to be a fourth quarter, and we have to tough through it. I do think, however, that it will be over at some point. I do, just at how life works, everything is
True.
a season, and this season will, come to an end. I think the main thing we can do is make sure we're preparing ourselves to when that happens. That we're keeping
Right.
ourselves as safe as possible. We're making the best decisions for ourselves and our families, and we're setting ourselves up for when it is over, we are in a better place than when it began. Um, but
Right.
but starting from Kobe on, I really feel like the sentiment is, huh, but it ain't over. Like, but it ain't
Right.
over. You know.
Right. I don't know. It's just, and I think, like I said, the logical thinking, that's just the logical thinkings of the average human being. We want to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We want to understand what is going on, which of course leads to, the famous biblical verse, lean not on thy own understanding. But that's just, the way that we operate. We want the answer, so like I said, I think this year just represents so much in a good and a bad way. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, I was so happy that you used that example of back in the 60s when, our past generation, they experienced Kennedy, Martin, Malcolm, Robert. I mean, I never even thought about that till you mentioned it. And that was a dreadful time. But once
Mm-hmm.
again, that was a season. So that is an amazing example, 100%. And at the end of the day, positive thinkers, believers, whatever, everything is a season, 100%. Truly, every single thing in our lives, in the world, 100% is a season.
Mm-hmm.
Trouble don't ever last always, never,
Right.
and this is truly a season, so I guess the main thing with any season, any bad time, whether it's in our personal life or just on a monumental scale, like what's happening now, I guess all the time is just, okay, what lesson are you going to take from it? That's literally, that's the only thing that is in our control. If you think about it, is the lesson that we take from it. Like, we obviously
Mm-hmm.
can't control what's happening, but we can control how it affects us, how, we operate, what lesson we take from it. So I would say, I guess that's the major thing that we can hold on to. It's like, okay, we do have the control and how what lesson we learn from it. At the end of the day, I feel like we all have persevered, honestly. Like, we've all made it so far, no matter how devastating it is, but it's just I don't know, it's just a strange period. But like you said, you put it eloquently, like, it truly 100% is a season. And unfortunately, not even be morbid, this isn't the first season that things like this have happened. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's just, I think it's so much and so fast. And that's the arrogance that we have, that we like, "Oh, this is not supposed to happen to us. We don't have a say so in that." you know
Right.
so so I guess to round this out, I don't know, what would you like to leave us with? Like I said, this has been an emotional past few weeks. Like I said, unfortunately, here's yet another Friday. Because once we lost Chadwick, you and I talked the next day. Because, like I said, I was devastated. I shed several tears. Once again, here's yet another Friday where we've lost
Mm-hmm.
a legend. So,
Mm-hmm.
what would you like to leave everyone with on yet another Friday where we've lost someone?
I think it's gonna become repetitive, but I think it is the mantra at this point. Keep going, you know, keep working, keep, use these things as motivation, um, learn the lessons, glean lessons, um, take care of yourself mentally and emotionally. Don't read the comments. That I don't care where you are, what platform, don't read the comments, especially for the next kind of week or so. Disconnect if you have to. But be take comfort if there's anything to take comfort in. Take comfort in it being a season, which means the season will end. And be determined to still just make sure to be on the journey, and well, definitely take comfort and solace in the fact that it is a season, so it will end. And just make sure you're still on the journey when it does. And like I said before, and that you're in a better position, that you don't allow anyone to completely rule your existence, and that you always leave yourself options.
I don't know. I guess the main thing I would say if I just had to leave people listening, or just that's like, okay, like, why is this happening or whatever, or just, I don't know, who are feeling the weight of so many things happen so fast, and so unexpectedly. Um, I guess, I mean, just keep your head up. I mean, I know like recently on my daily crown jewels on, the brand IG, I am hashtag, I'm sorry, I am underscore go queen. I guess the main thing I've been saying for the past week is just like, stay focused and stay the course. That's literally all I can, I don't know, that's all I can just dwell on. Just stay the course no matter what. I just feel like sometimes naturally in life we're going to be thrown curveballs. Things are never going to be the way that we plan. I mean, like I said, if life would go the way we plan, we wouldn't need a higher power, we wouldn't need faith, we wouldn't need prayer, we wouldn't need meditation. Like, life is not, it's not going to be that easy. Okay, as much
Mm-hmm.
as we want it to be, that's not going to happen, so I guess my main thing is just stay the course, basically. And of course, I'm gonna say my famous line: "Go love yourself." You have to love yourself, only because
Absolutely.
when you love yourself and you have that self worth, that's literally what keeps you sane. Okay, because this year has been a year that I think has truly been the mental test. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
how do you focus? How do you stay focused? How do you stay mentally sane in a time like this? I mean, I think the strongest of the strongest people realize how fragile their emotions truly were. So the best thing I could say probably is just stay the course. And the thing about when we lose legends, and I mean just straight up legends, royalty, like King T'Challa, our King Chadwick Boseman, our Queen Ruth Bader Ginsberg, is when you look back at their body of work, just the
Mm-hmm.
things, the good works, the good trouble, like John Lewis, which I was devastated. You know what? That was yet another Friday. Look, good.
It
Oh my
was.
God. That was yet another Friday. And I remember once again, same thing. I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm an IG whore. I'm scrolling through Instagram and I saw he passed, and it was the same feeling. The same thing was like maybe 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, I cannot believe this. I always looked up to John Lewis, just him getting his skull cracked on that Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
first learned of that, just the significance of him leaving. And it just see how the spirit moves. Just, oh, wait a minute, that was yet another Friday night, finding out that legend had passed. When you look back at the body of work of those people, it begins to chip away at the pain. Like, it's like, okay, it's hurtful, but then once again, that's the selfishness in us. you know, we get upset when these people leave. And
Right.
another common thread of all three, cancer. Those people, their suffering was over. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? That suffering
Mm-hmm.
had
Mm-hmm.
ended. That suffering had an expiration date. It was done. It was time for them to not be in pain anymore and to finish that final chapter that they were assigned to. I really truly do
Mm-hmm.
feel in my heart that all three of them had an assignment and they're still on that assignment. It's not for us to know. But the selfishness of us, we're like, oh God, they're taking away from us. But no, they were never here for us in the
For us,
first place.
right, right.
Now they
Mm-hmm.
had their mission to inspire us. But once again, when we lose those legends, like I said, it's a lot of selfishness, the sadness that we have when those legends leave because we think about us. But at the end of the day, they pass that baton on, actually. So you're supposed to grab it and you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to say, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of the time I have left?
It's another leg of the race. Mm-hmm.
Correct. So, to round it out, I would say, in times like this, just look back on your life and where you're at currently and how you can just take a piece of that legacy and make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm
Mm-hmm.
not putting pressure on people to say, okay, you need to be a T'Challa, you need to be a John Lewis, a civil rights legend, you need to be a Ruth Bader Ginsberg, a legend in justice. No, I'm not saying you have to do that, but whatever it is you're trying to do, I would say that is the positivity in everything. We go back to my big thing on positive thinking. That's where we can take it. What can I do to build what I'm trying to do?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
that's the best thing I could say, and just use them as example. Look at what
Absolutely.
Chadwick
Because
Boseman did. That
even
man
with
had. I mean, look at Chadwick Boseman. That man made history with stage 3
right.
cancer. It's
And
like,
43 years to do
yes, it's just
it.
like that little time he had. Our grandkids are going to know about Chadwick Boseman, plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple. Especially if I'm your grandma. It's like, just look at that, and I think that is the silver lining. That is the reason to continue to hold your head high. That's the reason to continue to straighten up your crown and dry your tears and move forward because
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful thing at the end of the day. So, like I said, it's another heavy Friday. It just amazes me that John Lewis just occurred to me during this conversation. But once again, that higher power meant for me, nudged me, I guess, to say, wait a minute, you forgot to mention him. you know,
Right. Oh,
like,
absolutely.
like I said, because like you said, everything is meant to be, everything is aligned, even in our conversation. So that was meant to be the reminder, like, of him too. Once again, this is yet another heavy Friday, but
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, there's a purpose to everything. I think that's the only thing I think that keeps me personally sane. There is a purpose to everything. That's the only thing I can think of.
By the grace of God, like I was saying before, you're here to find out what it was.
Mm,
To find out what it was.
exactly. Well, kids, we're Courtney and I are about to sign off. Like I said, it's another heavy Friday. It's 10 o'clock on the dot. This was a long time coming. We had to record another episode for sure. The good news is in the future, Courtney and I are going to be taking our on the goes and bringing it to the video format, and
Hey, I really
that's
can't wait.
that's nothing but the credit of Courtney. Because like I said, she truly, truly, truly inspired me to finally get on video. Because as much as I love to run my mouth, I was not really keen on running my mouth with a camera. But she really changed my outlook on that. So, like I said, I can't sit still. I do think I have adult ADHD. That was just another one of my bright ideas. Like, Courtney, let's do it on camera. So, so that will be coming soon. We're gonna do a very totally different format for on the go because I think our conversations, I love doing on the goes. Like I said, it's lighter, it's fun. Even when we're talking about a heavy topic like this, it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, it's still refreshing.
Cathartic.
Right. And I think it's much needed. So, just to do something different. I always said that the on the goes are a standalone, quite frankly, from the Q chat. So I just kind of wanted to take it to a different level. So that's something that we will be doing soon. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be streaming that and it's going to be super nice. But once again, like I could say, kids, just go love yourself. Give yourself an extra hug tonight because once again, this is another Happy Friday, but we're more than conquerors and everything's going to make sense. This is going to be something that we can discuss eventually in the past tense. Like, oh, remember that time we all went through and we made it, like rock stars. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so thank you again, Courtney. I'm happy we had this conversation.
Absolutely.
Rest in paradise to these legends that we talked about tonight. John Lewis, Chadwick Boseman, and now added to that group, Ruth Bader Ginsberg. But thank you guys for your contributions. It's we really can't put it into words, honestly, what these three individuals meant to us. And all the best we can do, like I said, is just to grab that baton and whatever we're trying to do in our lives, just take it and try and build our own legacies and just try to build something that's important to uplift and inspire others. That's the best I can say. And to make history. So,
There you go.
whether that's on a small scale or a huge one, whatever, just be a legend in your own world. I guess that's the best I can say. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but thank you guys for listening to the Go Cream brand, the Q chat. And remember to go love yourself and be safe. Thank you for listening to the Q Chat podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Queen's Arrogance LLC. Our company website is www.goqueen.com.